Welcome to the AF Podcast. My next guest is a former NBA veteran, two-time NBA champion, Montreal's finest. You know, once upon a time we used to call him Warden, we still do, but now we got to call him GM. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show, Mr. Joel Anthony. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good. I'm good, man. Appreciate you having me over here.
Yeah, man, no doubt, no doubt. Like I said before, man, we were just talking offline about the World Cup. You know, the stars came out for that one, man. Like that's what can you expect? I mean, that's you can't expect anything better than that, I would say, right?
Yeah. It's been an amazing World Cup. Like I'm a casual soccer fan, and to kind of see all the different games and how close everything was,
Yeah.
and obviously like you see the upsets too, and this is what it's about. But that final, that was incredible. Like you see like the two stars like both
Yeah.
showed up, and like both were obviously like huge in carrying their team. Like Messi being able to come out with the win and having those two goals, and Mbappe with the hat trick, and willing his team like all the way to the wire. It was it was amazing. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching it.
Yo, that second goal by Mbappe again, man. That shit was absurd, man. If that shit was
Yeah,
absurd.
I told you I had to catch myself. Like I was going crazy when when he
Oh, I was
scored, and
done.
I
I
had
was
to catch. I can't remember last time I was that excited. Like just watching sports as
yeah,
a
a
fan.
sporting
Like
event,
it
period.
was,
I know.
yeah,
Even my family was like, "Yo, you okay?" And I'm like, no, man. Like this game is crazy. This
yeah,
game is wild. I'm like, I gotta go get an Mbappe shirt now, man. Like shit.
right,
That shit was crazy. And I mean, again, the guy's so young too. Like I don't, man, that was incredible. But that's
right,
nothing more you could expect, right? It's like
yeah,
you get your stars to perform. Everybody did their thing. You know, Mbappe lost, but you mean how can you perform better in a loss? You know, and
right.
one of the greatest ever, finally gets that trophy. You know, caps his career off. You know, even though he still has some years to go, but the results was amazing. I can't ask for
Yeah. You
anything
you
better.
can't you can't ask for more. Like this is definitely going down as like one of the great World Cups. To be able to watch, and like we said, like the final was definitely something that kind of that's the it's the end. So like right
Yeah,
there, like if you like how you finish is obviously the most important thing, and like to see a World Cup end like that with that type of game. Um, like maybe outside of like having penalty kicks, but still like it was there was they scored like six goals
I know.
between the two of them before that. So it was you really couldn't ask for more, and all the storylines and everything, like they all lined up well. So it was it was definitely like amazing World Cup.
And then Team Canada was finally in it, right? We
Yeah,
first time in what, like 40, was it 30, 36 years, something like that. We
yeah, yeah,
finally got a
yeah.
chance to represent. But I mean, shoot, and from what I'm being told, I'm a casual soccer fan too, so I'm not even gonna sit there and act like I'm a pro at this. But
Right.
but I know, but everybody's telling me like, yo, as long as you can keep funding them properly, like we're coming too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is and obviously there's always so much excitement, so like for us, as a country in Canada, like there's so much excitement for the World Cup. You see around, everyone's watching it, and but we've always been watching it, but really been on the outside,
mm-hmm.
looking in. So to finally have a team there where we're like, okay, like we actually have our team here, and so when Canada plays, like our like people in Canada will actually have like their Canadian flags like to
Yeah,
represent, whereas usually it's just like all the other countries, because such a big especially in Toronto, like such a big
mm-hmm.
multicultural city, like you see flags for everywhere. So like depending on the game, like you'll
Yeah,
see all these different flags, but everyone still loves the game. But
yeah.
to have our own country over there is definitely great. And it's just the start. It's just the beginning now of trying to get onto a consistent level with the rest of the world.
No, absolutely. And where's my manners, man? You're at home. I got to make you feel at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's my manners, man? I gotta make you feel
Yeah,
comfortable, man. You know, we're
right.
not in person, so I can't give you juice or a glass of liquor or anything. But I gotta make you feel at
Right.
home at
The
least.
exposed fitted. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Need that. I definitely I still have mine. Still have a couple of them in the closet. You know that's a must. That's a must. You know, funny story. I was when I first got to the league, it was the one thing that I would consistently buy.
Yeah,
Where like
it's
every
excellent
store, I look for every exposed fitted I could find. I was like, oh, I have a little bit of money and I could represent my city like elsewhere. I was buying every Expo that was out there. I go to every lids that I'd find. It was something I didn't have. I was trying to order them online.
Mm-hmm.
I was everywhere with it. And I'd always have it on, and like so some people recognize it and they don't understand that. Some people ask and know that they know, and like even though the team wasn't there, like it's always it's definitely a sense of pride for us still from Montreal to be able to have that. And that's what I think in sports like people want. People want to be able to be represented, have something that they could hold on to,
For sure.
and like look, the team's been gone for how long, and like everyone's still they still wear those fitteds because it means something to them.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, man. There's nowhere in this world I can go without having at least one of these somewhere. You know what I mean? Even though I don't
Right.
wear hats the same way anymore, I still have to have like a couple of Expos paraphernalia. There was a point I went crazy. I don't know if you can see this, but there was a point I went crazy and I started getting Montreal stuff too.
Oh
I don't know if you can
wow.
see that
Oh, okay. The
MLS
impact.
team. I
Yes,
think they're
sir.
defunct now, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's
but like, yeah, man, you got to represent, home, man, no matter where you go. And I always said if I leave Toronto, I'm like, I'll have a few more Toronto stuff too, but nothing beats the Montreal Expos logo. Nothing beats that, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nothing
Definitely.
beats that. But first of all, let me congratulate you on becoming the GM of the Montreal Alliance for the Canadian Elite Basketball League. First and
Thank you. Thank you.
foremost, yeah, man. So like, let's talk it. Let's take it back to the beginning, man. How did that even get started for you? Like, what was the process for that? Like, how did that even become a thing
Oh,
where you went from, oh, there's a position, okay, whatever, and all of a sudden, we're here right now talking about your first year.
yeah, like it wasn't even the position. Like I remember I joined the CBL in when they had the bubble in
Yeah.
2019.
So,
So when COVID hit, the league didn't want to stop. They wanted to keep momentum, so they're able and were successful with it. They had a bubble, first
mhm.
team in North America to have that. And so when I joined, then I remember hearing from a couple people like, oh, like we heard like Montreal might have a team, like you need to like get involved with that. I was like, I'm just getting involved with the league. I was with Hamilton at the time,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Well, the
you know
bubble was in St. Catharines, if I remember, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I
It was
remember.
over in St. Catharines, and and like that's when like I first even heard about it, just from someone uh randomly, and then at the end of that season, hearing hearing a little bit more about the buzz with with the team coming, I made sure I spoke to the commissioner. I talked to Mike Morelli, and I just said like, look, I'm not sure what your plans are, but with the potential team going to Montreal, I'd like to be involved, and so
Mhm.
obviously like I had a relationship being involved in the CBL already, and we it was just a matter of seeing how that was going to be able to work, what we'd be able to do, and so the the conversation started to kind of we started to get into some of that throughout the season, just
Yeah,
here and there, just small conversation. Obviously I was still very much focused on what I had to do in Hamilton, but word started getting around, and I even had like some of my players in Hamilton like, hey, like we need to talk. Like we heard something about like Montreal, like you, and obviously everyone's gonna
yeah, of
think to at least associate me with that. But
course, yeah.
as we got deeper into the talks, it was there was some talks about ownership, and then the league ended up taking it over, and the GM position just seemed to be the one that made the most sense. you know.
Yeah.
So it was big for me to, you know, be a part of this organization. But you know, my reasons were, you know, I wanted to be able to help our basketball culture in Montreal, and I
Yeah.
wanted to do something that'd be able to change, and I wanted to be able to have an opportunity to give back. And this was the best way that, you know, I saw myself being able to do that, you know, being involved and being hands on in you know, the beginning of another pro team in our city.
Hmm.
And I also had a lot of faith in the league. I felt it was being run the right way, and I think for that we at least had that foundation of, you know, a solid league that was continuing to grow,
Yeah.
and it just made a lot of sense. And so, you know, we ended up selling on a GM position for me, and you know, you know, Annie LaRouche, who was who's our VP now, you know, she was, you know, doing a lot of the work beforehand, and you know, so getting a chance to join her kind of on this you know, journey, and working with her through this process has been, you know, has been great, you know. So, you know, they you know, was very thankful for the opportunity. You know, you know, she definitely wanted me involved. The league wanted you know, felt it was a good fit as well. And so
Hmm.
it really worked out, you know, the timing of it as well.
And you know, and as a GM, you get a chance to be like the architect. You know what I mean? To basically kind of see the vision. You know, be the face of seeing the vision through for this franchise. Like, what parts of it did you do you love the most from it so far?
Uh there's so many. I think the like one, just like having, you know, my kind of and like my long-term goals and understanding what they could possibly be,
Hmm.
and knowing that, you know, we could do things to, you know, to achieve that, and just knowing those things are possible is what, you know, excites me, because it's something that I feel will be able to change, and will be able to help, and will be able to inspire
Hmm.
um you know, our the basketball fans, the basketball players, and you know, like basically our basketball community in that city. Like that really excited me. And it was also, but you know, this is also a like huge learning piece, you know, for
Yeah.
me. Like I never been part of, you know, a front office before. When I was in Hamilton, I was you know, just trying to, it was really mostly in the bubble the first year. You know, I was working kind of just kind of shadowing our GM there, Jermaine Anderson,
Yeah.
who I played with
Rock.
as well. Yeah, you know, shout outs to Rock. But you know, because like I knew I wanted to get involved, and so all this was going to be new. So it was just
Yeah.
about, I think, the process of learning everything, and you know, still, you know, so much stuff that you have to learn. And you know, I just kind of have myself just thrown into, you know, just thrown into the fire with it. But it's the process is what's been, you know, just exciting for me, because there's so much. And but I love, you know, like all of it. It's been a lot of work, you know, very
Hmm.
time consuming to get all this stuff done. But it's, you know, like for me, it's always worth it. You know, I've found something that I enjoy outside of playing,
Yeah.
and that I love to do, you know, outside of playing, which I think is the biggest thing, you know, especially as a retired athlete, you know, to
Hmm.
find something else that you really want to do, you know, where you're like, you know, just how where you play, you say like, oh, I'll do this for free. I'll just play, like, you know, if there was, you know, like a ball and a basket, they like, you go out there and play, like
Hmm.
even this stuff, you know, that I'm doing now, like I do it because like there's so much more to it. Like I love to do it. I'm loving to learn like all these different things, and I love the opportunity to be able to help on the other end in my city. So
Yeah.
it's really been great.
And from you know from your days of playing, like what would you say that you took from like your playing experience that translates to your role here? Even though I know this is like your first time doing it.
You know, there's some stuff that I feel I would do just naturally because I've been in those situations. So like
Mhm.
I don't even know that I'm actually doing it, because as a professional, I basically grew up, in Miami. My first
Right,
7 years were in Miami. So that whole, everything people talk about, heat culture and how they go about, like that's all I knew, like
right.
to me, like that was the NBA. And then when I leave and I understand, oh, like there's, these organizations really are different. Like I've heard like the vets tell me about how things are in different
Hmm.
parts of the league, and you don't know until you're there.
You're there.
And I just like my experiences from understanding like one culture and how things were done. Obviously as a player, you're not looking at it from the same lens, but still like understanding kind of what the front office was trying to do, with us, and wanting to incorporate some of those things into the team that we have here in Montreal, and
Yeah.
finding different ways to be able to do that. And so for me, I think the biggest thing is using those experiences to help lay a foundation, and that's what I'm working on right now. As a priority to lay down a proper foundation so we could build this the right way.
And the CBL is growing so far because like you had, of course, the Scarborough Shooting Stars that sell off the season tickets because they had J. Cole and everything else, but the league
Mhm.
final as well, which was really entertaining. Like I watched that final, man. I was actually really impressed with the talent level. What do you think this league is going and just in terms of its future? Because it's some good quality ball for people that
Yeah, yeah,
may not
no,
know.
I think the league is definitely going in the right direction. It's definitely trending up. It's shown to have, like a very good amount of talent in it.
Mhm.
We've had players that have, had NBA experience, really good quality G League players, really good quality overseas players
Yeah,
that have been able to play. It's FIBA certified. You see everything is, official, it's done well. It's still growing though.
yeah,
Like,
for sure.
there's still a lot of work that has to be done. But I think because it's also very unique, the fact that it's in the summertime,
Mhm.
you don't have that anywhere else. Like where you could have, like, you might have to go, I don't know, like maybe in South America you have one or two leagues that you could play in the summertime. But
Mhm.
I think our league for the summertime, like you're really not going to find any better, like really competitive basketball, like high level, like outside of like your national team.
Yeah.
Like that's really, like that's really it. You have NBA Summer League, but
I was about to say
that
that's the only
that's
thing. It's probably
that's
like
still
10 days,
different.
right?
You have like, yeah, you have like, like 20 guys on a team, and
Hmm.
like guys aren't always playing. There's different things that are going on, and so it's definitely not the same.
Right.
But for a league, I think we have something special and unique, and it's like a really nice boutique, shop, if you think about it like
Hmm.
that. That's being built up, and it's starting to, it's getting a buzz, and like you see it in, oh, okay, like they have some really nice food there. It's not the huge chain or anything
Yeah.
like that, but a lot of people are wanting to go there,
Right.
and it's really building up. So I think the trajectory of the league is going up, and there's continued to be a lot more support as it continues to develop.
Mhm.
And just really happy to be a part of it.
And you hoping down the line there would be something like maybe like a streaming contract so you could get to see some more games. Like for me, I don't live in Montreal anymore, but like to be able to watch some of the games, it'd be cool to like get like maybe like a streaming package or something together. This is for advice for the league, not necessarily yourself, but
Yeah, well, you can see the games now. Like our games are streamable. You can go onto
the
on
CBL website.
the CBL website,
Yeah.
use CBL Plus. You could register over there, and then whenever they have games, like they will actually be like, be streamed.
Hmm.
And like also, then not even just that, like we also have like games on like national TV, like
Yeah, yeah.
games on
CBC and
the
stuff, man.
CBC. And then depending on how you're able to how every every region is different. We're very fortunate to partner up with RDS. and
Yeah,
we were able to have our games streamed on RDS,
yeah.
and also we were able to get some TV games on there as well. So the potential for that is definitely big to do more with with streaming, and with getting that product out there to the rest of the fans. And but
Mhm.
this is why I say like this league is really growing, because it's being done the right way, getting like really good quality partnerships. And it shows that we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, and for me, like, I see you as a success story because, and not just because of the stuff you did with the NBA, because I see that you have plans to make moves outside of the sport, that you played, and and you see a lot of times where that's not the case with a lot of former athletes, right? Like, for you, like, what's the biggest challenge you see from your point of view that all athletes struggle with when it comes to, when they retire from their sport? For the ones or the ones that may still be in the league, like what do you think is like the biggest challenges for guys that, once they retire, it's like, what do I do now? How did I identify themselves as something other than just being a player?
Yeah, I think it's just finding another passion,
Mm,
find another passion, really. Not just an interest, because like an interest like could fade, but if you have a passion, like that'll always be there. And something you would really love to do. And I think because like it's so hard to make it in the NBA, and to make it as a just professional athlete, and you have
yeah,
to dedicate so much time, and you have to sacrifice so much time, that it's very easy to not put in the time of looking at what might be after, because you're so locked into what you're doing.
right,
And so like a lot of times, like with the guys, like when it's done, like they're like, oh wait, it's over, because most of the time it's going to end usually like before you want it to.
yeah,
And so it's over, and then all of a sudden they're stuck, and it's like, okay, like now I'm finished, and I'm not ready for this. And so I think
mhm,
also the preparation that you're able to do beforehand, where okay, you're busy, you're doing all these things. And I know the NBA has like just now like really started to implement a lot more programs to provide this type of support, but finding different ways, the different options that could be available. So the NBA now, they have there's a real estate program, they have a broadcasting
mhm,
program, they have entrepreneur program, a tech program, like all these different things that you could get involved with, where you go to maybe a seminar. This is usually in the summertime, in the off season, you go to a seminar. You're able to interact with people like in that field,
yeah,
and learn different things. And just for people that have interest in doing things outside of basketball, like that's, I think, one of the big things that will help them, to be able to find something to do after, where you might be able to identify that interest or that passion, and then
mhm.
you could go there with it. I had an interest in real estate, so I went to a real estate symposium,
Seminar.
through the MBA, and it got me involved. I started working towards a real estate license. And these are things that I wouldn't have done. I might not have known how to do on my own. And so to be able to get that assistance. And so it's a little bit harder for professional players overseas, because like they don't have that same type of support.
Right.
But I would say still finding something that you are interested in, whether it's like in investing, entrepreneurship, or you want interest in working in a different field. But taking some of that time to be able to do that is extremely important, to do, so that you're ready once it is time to stop playing.
Did they used to have that before though? Like, was that something that's implemented in the last like 5, 10 years? Like in terms of all the
Yeah.
seminars and stuff?
No, they did not. Like when I first came in the league, it was actually the one thing I was always asking for. They'd ask like,
Really?
well, like what do you want to do? And I was like, I'm not sure, but like, is there? But there was no programs for me to even look towards.
Look towards.
And it wasn't until like I was close to being done that they finally started. So like maybe around like 2017, or
Okay.
or around then, 2016. Um, they started to come out with different programs, and the Players Association now is it's continued to grow like anything else, but they've really put in like a lot of time, effort, resources into finding programs and finding ways to continue to help athletes while they're playing, so
Mm.
that they're prepared for when they're done, and after they're done, or even players that that have already retired and gone on, like they want to be able to bring them back and help them, like it's about helping like our basketball community, like
Right.
that's what it's really about, so if you've had time in the NBA, like you're able to now have more resources to be able to help you, and so it is a little, like I said, harder, for international players because they're trying to find a way, but it's still possible.
Still
Javon
possible.
Shepherd is, probably like the biggest example that I could think of, where, he's someone that as soon as he was done playing, like he played on the Canadian national team, he, played overseas for, many
Many
years. And
years. Yeah.
then when he was done, immediately, like he was jumped right in. He was doing real estate. He was involved in broadcasting. Right now, he's the GM and vice president over at Ottawa, with the Blackjacks in the CBL.
Yeah.
He's just jumped into doing so many different things, and that was just him taking
The initiative.
the initiative and taking the time to try and figure out where, yes, I'm working out and doing all these things, but let me take a little bit of time out to just figure out what I might want to do after.
Right.
And that stuff just goes a really long way.
No, which makes sense, and I guess it maintains a brotherhood when you know that like the corporation that you're basically working for, the league, is basically helping you guys post career to kind of stay in it or just be involved. Because I'm assuming even with the real estate symposium, it's like you're getting the best real estate professionals that's going to be there to give you guys advice, right?
Yeah, like you're able to meet some, you like you have one, you'll have other athletes that'll come in. So like
Right.
Luol Deng, who's done like a lot in real estate,
Okay.
was over there, and he was talking to us about the different with his partner in terms of the different things that he's done. We'd have people that have had like success, and if we had someone, I think it was from, with the Sotheby's, but from different real estate companies that have come in and spoken to us about this, and taken us out on, we did our own like little mini field trips where we go out and see a site, and just to get an understanding of what goes into that process, so
Mhm.
they've, like I said, done a great job of finding that type of support within the NBA, and that they're continuing to find different ways to be able to do that. So I think the league and the Players Association is doing a great job to now make sure that players do have the support that they need, so that stigma of players like just not having anything to do after, or not knowing what to do after, will begin to change.
And it's funny because you mentioned Luol Deng. Like I've heard that before, but it's with him. But it's funny, like when guys kind of like when they retire, they just fade, and we just think like, what are these guys doing? And it's like it's kind of like same thing with music, where it's like the artists, have a couple albums, they fade away, and we're thinking, they're probably doing nothing or doing whatever, and we have no idea they could be doing all these different
Right.
things with the
They're
money that they
producing,
made
they're
and stuff.
writing, they're like, they
Yeah.
might, so they might do something within their business, or they might,
Hmm.
do stuff outside their business that you just don't hear about.
Yeah.
But you do have a lot of people that are looking to see, how they could advance themselves, how they could continue to evolve. Like
Hmm.
it doesn't have to stop with, just, this one career that you've had that may have been great,
Right.
but understanding that there is more out there.
What's the best piece of advice that you've gotten once you stop playing? Or what's the biggest lesson you've learned? I should say, maybe.
Uh, Biggest lesson I've learned. I feel one of the biggest ones, like it was advice that I didn't take, that I probably, like, I understand why, was to take some time. Um, and I don't think I fully did that. I think some of it was forced on me because of COVID, because that was
Mm,
the timing that I ended up retiring, which
yeah.
kind of worked out.
Yeah.
But take time to kind of figure out what you want to do. Um, because like after you're done, you might not want to just jump right into something. because especially if it's something where you might be putting in a lot of work and there's a lot of investment, like you want to be able to have some type of break after, you know, doing nothing but, well, mostly like just playing basketball for so
Yeah.
long. You want to be able to, really figure out and know what you want to do going forward and have a bit of a game plan. Um, I feel I wanted to just kind of like jump into things and kind of ease my way into things, but COVID actually helped kind of slow things down a
Yeah, for
lot.
everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Like for just like everyone else, so
Yeah.
it was no different than anyone else, and that to me really helped. And but the biggest thing I feel is always like do your work early. So then not waiting until after to see like what you're going to do. It's
Yeah.
do your work early so that once you're done you have at least an idea. But I would say probably one of the other things that was really big is just to be able to reach out. And I think players at times like they're not as willing to really go out and explore, and because they don't know how to do that either, because they never had to, because
Yeah.
someone was always there, like helping them through the process, or, whatever the reason may be. But, to reach out to, people that, you have interest in working with, if you need help in certain things, even though like they're done playing, like you still have people that will and are very willing, to be able to help. Like I've, reached out to like a lot of different people throughout this process that I've been going through. Like it's not like I've just, done this completely on my own. Like there's
Right.
so many people that, I've talked to, text, called, met with, just to help me understand what it is I need to do, because I'm trying to figure all this out, as I go. And so, if you're able to and maybe even to the point where you're able to latch onto a mentor that could, once you have a specific field that could help you through that process,
Mhm.
that is something that's invaluable.
Now, in terms of like, players reaching out and stuff, or former players trying to reach out, do you think it's like a pride thing in terms of like maybe that's why they don't want to ask for help or ask for advice and stuff, or
Some of it, everyone's different. Some of it could
yeah.
be, on, a pride thing. Some of it, could just be like they don't know like who to really talk to. And some of it could be like uncertainty with things. There's there's a lot of different reasons that someone might not do that, and just reach out. And it also isn't something that, unfortunately, as much as everyone, as players, like we all talk to each other about everything,
Yeah.
like those are some of the things in terms of stuff to do after, career wise, um business wise, those are the things I feel like we don't talk about as much.
Mhm.
And it's probably something that, not probably, it is something that has to, that it has to change, where it's like, well, like you're doing this in business, well, like let me know like how you're like going about it, or like how'd you like get involved in this. And
Mhm.
a lot of times I think we're, even though, we're used to working in it and as a team, but a lot of our preparation and everything is done individually. And
Yeah.
so a lot of things that we do individually, we just kind of, I feel like, keep to ourselves at times. And then, you don't want to, whether it's pride, and sometimes maybe it's embarrassment, or you don't know how it's going to be received from anyone else, or you might
Mhm.
perceive someone's doing it this way and they're doing it right and you're doing it wrong, or like vice versa, but you really don't know until you have those conversations.
Yeah.
So it's just being willing to be open, and believing that those conversations are needed, because I personally feel that it is. No one has all the answers.
No, definitely not. And do you believe, like, especially in this day and era, where I always call it like fast pace, with just how fast, like, the world tries to have you moving, do you like the concept of like sacrificing for your dreams, and how many people I would say don't either live by that or understand that? Like, do you believe in that in this day and age? Like what's like like how important is sacrificing for the goals and for the dreams and stuff?
I 100% believe in that. I feel like, but I've had people ask me like, what is it, that helps you, achieve some of these goals and have some of these accomplishments, and it was like without a doubt been sacrifice. You
Hmm.
have to be able to give something up. Like no one, nothing's going to be given to you for free.
Right.
You have to be able to give something up to be able to get something. If the greater the prize, the greater the sacrifice. Like there's, for like for me, like just playing ball, it was really like a lot of it was just the time. Like I basically didn't go back to Montreal. I'd go back for 2 weeks after the season, and then I'd do my training like
Yeah.
back at school, and I'd be, doing extra, schoolwork like back over there. When I was a pro, I'd come back for, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I would do, all my training like back, like over there
Exactly.
where I was locked in. I was getting everything I need to. And so as I would have loved to be able to spend more time with my friends, my family, and, do that. But, I had, a total different goal that I was focused on,
Hmm.
and so and everything in, like in between, like you have to, and I think balance is also important. And I think that's sometimes where some of us like don't always aren't always the best at. I know
Yeah.
I've fallen victim of it where, I just put everything into that, and you still want to be able to balance things out. I know for me, like, I have a family now, so, my daughter's 6, and so I have to, find a way. And, there's definitely like guilt sometimes with, all the work that you put in,
Yeah.
that, you're doing this, obviously, it's also for them, but, you want to be able to balance that out. And we don't always do a very good job of that, as athletes, but definitely like when we're playing, because there's so much time that you want to put into it
Yeah.
physically, all the extra, all the extra hours into work, like being strict diet, just, getting like extra, all the extra sleep, you're not doing, everything on the outside that could affect, what's going to happen on the inside, like on the court and, in the locker room. So the sacrifices that you need to make for that are, like are pretty significant. And, like some people don't understand it, some people do,
Hmm.
but that's what it takes. Like if you're gonna, even have a chance to, be able to make it. Like it's not just, good enough to say like, oh, I'm just talented enough to do this. Like you have to
Yeah.
have talent, you have to work hard, you have to be able to, sacrifice for what it is you want. You need a little bit of luck in there. Like also, like
Mhm.
there's so many things that go into it. But if you don't like put in the effort, you can't like if the basketball gods are looking at you and they're saying like, well, have you done everything you're supposed to do?
Mhm.
Could you have done more? If you're like, well, I probably could have, gone to sleep earlier and got more rest so I could be more better physically prepared, as opposed to staying out like later, thinking I
Mhm.
could do both, where um it's
Like you
so
don't want to miss out on that on those other moments too.
yeah, but that's part of it though. Like unfortunately, like there's some things you're gonna have to miss out on.
Hmm.
There's some things you're gonna have to miss out on, and not everyone could deal with that. And the ones that can, though, those are the ones that it helps tremendously. I think in terms of having an opportunity to be successful.
Yeah. And I feel like, and I mean, this isn't just for sports. I mean, I think that skill is transferable for anything, right? Because I don't think people understand the concept of like of just that sacrifice and also balance. And it's all hard, but like you have to give up something, right? If you want to be great at your craft or whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's a hard thing to do, but if it was easy, everybody would do it, right?
yeah, exactly. And you can't do like the bare minimum. You see guys like they work out, they do some individual work, like before but before practice, like whatever, and then they practice, and then they're gone, and then they don't do anything for like the rest of the day. This is like, or not even like, let's take like the off season, like guys would, they'll lift their weights, they'll go on the court, do some individuals, and then maybe like if there's a run, they'll play, and like that'll be it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like there's like a small amount of hours of work really that's put in. And like one of the biggest quotes that I've been hearing about was like one of Kobe's old interviews, and he always talks about, how much time you put in. And obviously he was like a manic,
Manic, yeah.
when it came to, the work that he put in. He's, obviously, up there as, the poster for sacrificing for your goals. And not to say you have to be completely, because when people talk about Mamba mentality,
I
like,
know it's almost,
and
I don't want to
everyone
call it
talks about like
unrealistic.
they have it like, no, like he was very much different. Like he
Hmm.
was different. But
Unique to
it's
him.
about like, look, if you're putting in more hours, so like, okay, like you do your workout, lift weights, go on the court, maybe play. If you're doing some of that work earlier, then you have time to get, more sessions in
Yeah,
at, like later in the evening. And, it's just saying like, hey, like I have this much time in the day. How much time am I putting into my craft and what I do? Like you could, just get by and be average if you're saying like, okay, like I just put like 4 hours in, and that's it. But eventually, like you just put in 4 hours, like, okay, like maybe one day or something like that, that's something. But the guys that are putting in, 6, 7, 8, like those are the ones where like they're gonna be able to start to separate from
yeah.
everyone. And like eventually, like it does happen where like you
Mhm.
consistently do that, and consistency is one of the biggest things I would say in terms of making and being successful as a professional. You consistently do that where people are like, this is what you're doing every single time. That stuff, all like you're just putting in more equity into yourself, and
Mhm.
it definitely pays off in the end.
And it's funny because I say the Mamba mentality is unique to him, not because you can't take stuff from it, but I mean, you hear the stories about he's training at 3 in the morning. Not everybody can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's different. Like to get
Mhm.
up in like 3 in the morning, I was I'm not like I'm not doing that. And like I'd put in like a lot of work. Like I get up at like 6. Like
Mhm.
I've gone up at 6, gone for a bike ride, and then gone for like done like 20 miles on the bike. Go to a workout on the field where I'm doing like agility and all this stuff, and then go to the weight room, then go like get shots, and then maybe after later in the evening, like play,
Mhm.
and maybe get like another workout after that. And like you have, so like there's a lot of stuff you do, but like his stuff was, like there's just like three, there's just small pockets where it's like when do you really have time for like anything else? And like you don't. And that's like the type of commitment and
Yeah.
sacrifice that you have some people make. And I think like with him, that's why I know personally, like one of the things I first said when he, unfortunately passed was just like, man, like he just finished. And I say that because like you knew about all the stories and how much time he put into it. And obviously he had all the success, from that. But on the other side, and I see it as, someone that has a family, like he had kids, and he had a wife, and there was so much time that they weren't able to get, from
Yeah.
him
From him.
because of what he put in. And now he was going to be able to finally get that, so he put in all that sacrifice, did everything he was supposed to do, and then finally it's over, and now he can move on to this next chapter, and he has all this time like that he's able to have with his family. And you see like all that's just gone,
Yeah.
and it's like that's one of the things. It's like, wow, like like it's so unfortunate because I know his family was just like, oh, like there's finally more time,
Yeah. You can reap the
that
benefits of the family
they
time at
have.
least now.
You can't. That's the one thing. Like you can't take back time, so you have to use it right. You have to use it right. And so, like yes, like take the time to also like like be around your family and do those type of things. But you need to use that time where you're putting in as much work and maximizing all those hours that you can.
You brought up something about sleep because I gotta ask this question, man. How do you professional athletes sleep on command the way you guys do? What is the trick? What is the secret? Because I know a few guys that's been in the league, whether it's NBA, NHL, whatever it is, and you guys have a habit of like being able to sleep almost on command. How do you guys do it?
See,
What's the
like
secret?
I think it's just like you're in a routine. Like you're like if I'm always getting up at the same time every single day, and I'm getting in like the same amount of sleep every single day, like you're just programmed. So once it will once it comes to to that time, like I'm, like you're going to sleep. So like I would go to like so before a game, like I just know I'm going to sleep like early, like regardless. I'm always going to sleep early. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be, like depending on who I'm playing, like I know I've gone to sleep. Like I've said, like look, like 11 o'clock is my bedtime. Like
Cut
I'm,
off.
like out. But it's you've just programmed yourself to always do it. So like once that time comes, like no, like that's it. Like I'm gonna go. I'm gonna sleep, and like I'm out like a light. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're not waking me up or anything like that. And so I think also because like you're also putting in so much work, physically, and it's draining. And
Yeah.
sometimes like as athletes, like we're able to still do like everything we have to do in the day, but like really like your body like would really like some sleep. So when it
Rest.
comes time to sleep, like it's easy to just, for us to just go to sleep. Like I sleep like everywhere. I used to like I put in so much extra work like my first year in Miami because I wasn't playing.
Mm-hmm.
So there was so much, they had me, I come in, like 2 hours early to, get extra work on the court. Then I have to do my individual sessions. Then I'd have to practice. Then I have to do stuff after. And so I'm doing all this extra work. And so like when we be traveling, because like even if on like game days, like I'm still doing all this extra work like outside because I wasn't playing.
Yeah.
So my body was tired.
Yeah.
And so like once it came, if there was a chance for me to sleep, like I was on the plane, knocked out. I wouldn't know like what happened. I had a seat in the front, go right to sleep and just pass out because like my body's like, all right, we have a chance to recover, and
Mm-hmm.
we'd do that. So I think physically, because you just kind of condition yourself, it's easy to to sleep. But I would say the mental factor of things, sometimes it works the other way around, where it's hard to go to sleep and you end up being up because like mentally you're thinking about so much stuff with the game. That there are times where like guys just like might just like have difficulty sleeping. But I
Mm-hmm.
think because like and your body knows like, look, I have to get this rest because I'm about to go through war over here, on the court. You just kind of condition yourself to do that.
And even the traveling and all that stuff. Like people underestimate the travel. Like it's a
Yeah,
lot, man.
you
Like
yeah, you get used to it, for
mm-hmm.
sure. Like there's an adjustment period. I know my rookie year there was well, I think everyone deals this at some point. I'm not sure where I was. I think I might have been in Atlanta. I just remember waking up. I didn't know what day it was. I didn't know what time it was, and I didn't know what city I was in. I didn't know where I was. I was like, what's going on? Where am I? What I'm looking at my phone. I'm checking the address
That's
on the
crazy.
telephone in the hotel because I was just like, wait, whoa, what am I supposed to do? Like, where am I supposed to be?
That's crazy.
Because like it's just like this whirlwind, right?
Yeah.
You're just traveling, you're going, you're bouncing around, and so and that's why you need to find a way to be disciplined, to have a routine, because that's what's going to help you kind of get through
Recover.
all of that, get
Yeah.
through that grind. And
Yeah.
82 games, it's a lot of games.
It's a lot of travel too. A
So
lot of
yeah,
travel. You're
like
flying out.
a lot of travel. That's 41 games that you're gonna have on the road. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of travel. You flying, jumping on a plane, going here, like right after the game, you flying to the next city. And depending where you are, like in Miami, like we're all the way at the bottom. So
So everything
all of our
is
games were far.
yeah.
Yeah, like if you're up top, like if you're in like Boston, like it's like 2 hours to Indiana, an hour to New York.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot easier to do that. But every trip for us was like a long trip,
A
like
long
unless we were
trip.
going to like Orlando. So it was just something you had to find a way to manage. So like a routine was definitely finding the proper routine was definitely big, and then all you do is have the discipline to be consistent with it, and you're able to manage your body adjusts. The human body is an
Mm-hmm.
amazing thing. It's able to adjust to so much, and you do that, and you're good to go.
And I asked that question too about sleep because like one of my friends, I remember was playing in one of the leagues. He used to say like, "Yo, game day." He's like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. He's like, "All right, I'll catch you in a few hours. I'm going to sleep." And I'm like, "Yo, how do you every time at 12 o'clock you can go Your game might not be 3 days in, but every time when it's a game day, you can go to bed at like noon, 12:30, and
Oh,
get hour
oh
sleep,
yeah,
hour and a
no.
half.
Oh, okay, like that's easy. Like because you're pro because you know what you have to do. So
Mm-hmm.
like if you don't get this sleep, like you're not gonna perform as well. Like
Mm.
I never took naps like ever like really in my life except for maybe when I was a child,
Yeah.
an infant.
Mm-hmm.
And then but like when it came to like especially like when I got to the league, like except for probably my first NBA game, like first preseason game, I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I
Yeah,
tried
you're
to.
just too
I was
excited.
just up. I was laying in bed like wide awake, like I'm about to
Do
really
this.
like have a like an NBA. I'm about to play an NBA game.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like apart from that, like I knew that I needed 2 hours. An
Mm-hmm.
hour and a half was like it was kind of tight. But if I had 2 hours, I was good. If I got
You're good.
more, great. So I knew like I would time everything. I had my schedule, and I
Mm-hmm.
said, look, by like after we finish lunch, I know I have to be sleep by 1 because 1 to 3, then I get up at 3, so I get ready. I might have like a 4 o'clock bus or whatever to
Mm-hmm.
go to the game. But I knew like that is my period of time, and no one and nothing could disturb that. And then that's the thing where you're disciplined. Like I don't like no like
Not
you're
answering
not
the
going to be able to
phone.
reach me
Yeah.
like 1 to 3 like don't even try to call. You're not going to get me. Like don't ask me to like do anything like and it's just like the discipline to that's really what it comes down to, like the discipline to be able to do that. I've had friends that have come into town, and like some of the friends like like when I'm playing and I have a game, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
look, I'm not much as I've loved like hanging out with you, and we may have been hanging out before. Like, no, it's game time. Like, y'all go ahead and do like whatever you have to do, but don't even come like bother me. Like, my room's gonna be closed. Like,
Yep.
I need this time. Like that's what it is. Or I
Meet
need to
me after the
sleep at
game,
this time. Like, yeah,
if anything.
so it's it's just about being a professional. Like that's that's what it is.
I know how it was back in the day. Like, we had few and far, NBA players from Montreal. And now you're seeing, Chris Boucher, you're seeing Dort, you're seeing Benny Mather, I like to call him Benedict Matherin. You know, from what you can see, like what do you see in them that makes you think that these guys and maybe the future coming up, they're gonna be good, if not great veterans in the league, or even better? Like,
Oh, like one, the fact that there's so many of them now, like from our city. Well, so many more like now from our city. So we're starting to build, and this is what I want, like for us to start to build like a culture within our
mm-hmm,
city where like we've always had like some really good ball players come out of our city.
mm-hmm,
But like one, they all are pretty much cut from the same cloth. Like Ben, Lou, Chris, Kem,
Cam, yeah,
they're all like very like tough, tough minded. Montreal, we're definitely like more of an underdog city where we've had to overcome a lot. Like outside of like Ben is really like the first, and but he still comes from that same toughness. Like you see how he is. He's tough. He's mentally like tough because what he's able to do, like his confidence level
high,
is so high, and like he's playing at such a high level right now. But he's like the most talented offensive player that we've really had to go into that level.
yeah,
Most of the guys like we all like started off like defensively was like our calm point. Like I was defensive play, like Sam was very strong
yeah,
defensively. Me, him, Chris Boucher was defensive player of the year
mm-hmm,
in the
Oregon,
G League. Lou is like a great defensive player like in league. Like all these guys, like we started off like that. So you have to have like certain toughness and grit, to be able to do that. And that's what like Montreal like ball players have always brought.
mm-hmm,
And so you're just seeing more of that. And now you're also seeing like them be successful at a higher level. And we're starting to hit, we have a bit of a turning point where like more and more players now are coming out there and are getting also more opportunities outside of the city.
yeah,
It's about, going to get an opportunity to play, like if they have to go to a prep school, if they have to go to Division 1,
mm-hmm,
and getting those opportunities to go to some high level schools and perform,
yeah,
and so
from an
but
earlier age too, right?
yeah, like from an earlier age, but like they have like that foundation laid out where like things weren't easy in Montreal for them growing up, and like just how you have other cities that they're built, they're built pretty tough in terms of how, because of their background, their environment, but also like the style of play that you'd have. Like in Montreal, it's a lot physical, it's a lot more, like it's not a like pretty, basketball type, type of city. It's
Mhm.
tough. It's, like it's going to test you. And the just how you have like all those players, that we've mentioned, like they've all had to, almost, it wasn't just handed to them.
No.
Like they didn't just come in through, through the front door. Like I say, most of the time they have to, like go through the kitchen or whatever to be able to actually get into the party.
Yeah.
And so, and that's why I said like Ben is like one of the few where like now you also have someone that's like, he's a top, he what went sixth
Yeah. Like a
in
blue
the
chip.
draft, so it's like you have a top 10, pick that's coming in, that's doing all this stuff, like offensively now, and also he has like the toughness from our city, like that same grit. Like he's going to be great, like just like all those other guys are having great careers right now. But
Hmm.
what you're seeing right now is like and all of that is also inspiring to everyone else coming up.
That's
And
true.
now also you're seeing now where it's like, oh, I could do this.
Hmm.
He's doing it. Like this
Hmm.
is this is realistic. Like when I was coming out, I was like, this wasn't realistic. I didn't even know if I go to Division 1. Like
Hmm.
I was just, I was just trying to figure things out. I said I knew I wanted to, take basketball a certain level, but like there weren't as many people to really to
Ask
look at,
questions from your
like
hometown.
before,
Yeah.
So like I was fortunate I had like some of like the OGs, like for me, like that they weren't playing at the time though, like
Hmm.
so I had like Trevor Williams and Wayne Yearwood,
Right.
Dwight Walton. Like I had like all these different guys that, I was able to kind of talk to, and they kind of helped me, all along the way and help guide me, to where I needed to go. But I wasn't seeing it from,
Yeah.
anyone over there. Now, like these guys are seeing it. Like these guys are, playing high level in Division 1. They're playing, playing in the NBA. They're starting on teams. They're like, like having a big impact on those franchises. Like that's what it's really about and what we're seeing now develop. So the future's bright for the Montreal ball players that are coming out.
Yeah, I mean, Canadian ballers overall, but I know the focus on Montreal, not just because where we're from, but they don't, like you're always hearing about the Toronto, the cast coming from Toronto and stuff, which is awesome and I love it. But
Yeah,
it's a special place when you're like, oh wow, Benny Mathis from,
yeah, no, it's definitely just like
he
we
knows the
talked about.
subway line.
It's yeah, exactly. Like it's a sense of pride. Like that's
Hmm.
why like you have that Expos fitted on. Like it's a sense of pride, from where you're from, and you're very proud of like the people that come from there. And so like when people are able to have success, and I think that's what's important. Like you're happy for the success that people have had because they've gone somewhere and represented like their city, saying, oh, like he's from Montreal and he did this,
Hmm.
and he was able to do that. And like that's what I say, it's inspiring for like the younger generation. That's
Yeah.
what's going to help kind of uplift everyone, and raise the level. Like these guys are raising the bar right now, where
Yeah.
it's not like, oh yeah, you're just trying to like make it to like maybe a high level D1, like back in the day. Like that would have been like the pinnacle where you're like, oh wow, like he played at a big D1 school and like did well. Like no, like now it's not even like, oh, like they're playing professional. Like no, like to the NBA, like you can get, become a lottery pick, to be, and not to like put pressure, but like to really have a huge impact, on
On a franchise.
on a franchise in the NBA, have an impact in the league.
Mhm.
Like that's that's really a high setting from where we were, like 15 years ago.
Yeah. Which is
Mm.
wild. And they can still pick your brain for advice in terms of being a champion, hard work, all that stuff as well. Because
Yeah.
you've been through those wars too.
Hey,
You know?
it's about everyone being together, and
Yeah.
I think Montreal at times like we're very separated. that I think that's one of the truths that I don't know if everyone wants to talk about, but like at
Hmm.
times like things are very separated, very distant, and it's about finding a way to unite, all of that together. That's one of the reasons I love like the name of our team, like the Alliance.
Yeah,
Because like we want to be able to kind of unite. It's something that I'd love to be able to have where we have more unity within our basketball community. And that's why it's great to like have some of those guys like come support, like
yeah.
Lou and Chris came to a game. Ben was over there.
Hmm.
And that they know some of the guys that are that
Yeah,
are on the team, and just to have a culture that's more united, where we could all like talk about things. Like I
yeah,
knew Kem, like when Kem was in high school. He was just leaving high school, like going into college, and I've
yeah.
gone to know him and his mom, and and get a chance to like talk to him throughout his process. And that's why like, and after like you're to see like what he's done, and like it's as much as it's inspiring for like all those youths that are able to see him have have that type of success. For like me as an older player, like I'm like so proud to like see like another like Montrealer like
Yeah.
do well and come up the ranks. And that's why so proud for all of those guys right now, because they're representing our city. You
I
know?
love that, man. I love that. Now, you've gotten some chips, in your time in the league. So, just watching the NBA so far this season is probably one of the last questions I'll ask, but like you know what it feels like, you know what it smells like, you know what the vibe is like. So, what team are you seeing right now? I know it's still early. We're in December. It's still early,
Right, right,
but
right.
what team are you seeing, or teams that you're seeing right now that's giving you that old feeling, that familiar feeling?
Uh, oh, I like Boston. Boston, I think, is playing at a real high level, and it's crazy because like with everything that they've
Endured.
that they've dealt with, like they've changed from and they're already trending up, right? They're already trending up. From the last couple of years, like Ime did a great job like with those teams in terms of helping them improve. But it's been crazy to see, um, that they've everything has stayed very solid. They've been able to still play well. There hasn't been like too much distraction with all that happening. So I'm definitely like Boston is definitely a team. I think Milwaukee's always been like consistent with what they're doing, and I think they're playing extremely well. Um, those are there's a couple of teams that you don't know if they're like really quite there yet. Like I think like Boston hasn't like won it recently, but I feel that because they've been to the finals, that they have enough experience that they
Mhm.
can like kind of take it to to that level where they're able to overcome and like win a championship. Like they're I think like good enough. Milwaukee has already been there,
Yeah.
and that's always a like huge advantage. And they're already playing at like a very high level,
Mhm.
which right now the like to me like Milwaukee's in a really good like situation where they're playing at a very high level. They're able to they know what it takes to get there. They have enough guys over there that know what it takes. And so it's just being, it's just about staying the course, staying the course, and putting yourself a good position to make it to the playoffs. And you just you take care of try to take care of business, once you're there. But those are two teams that
Those are the two teams. Yeah.
stand out. But like it's like I said, it's still early. You still have a lot of good teams like out west. Like Denver is really good. I really like them. Mike Malone, he actually was an assistant with us in the national team.
Mm.
And what was a big help, for us to qualify for the Worlds, back then. Um, but his team has done extremely well, and they've been able to play like really good basketball. Obviously, they have a lot of talent like Jokic, and
Yeah.
but there's still a lot more like Jamal and all of them. So like them as well. But yeah, you have a couple teams, but we still have to
So
see.
early.
Like once we get closer to the break, I think that's when you could really start to see kind of how how things are going to shape up. But like those two definitely, I think are with Boston, Milwaukee. I think they're really ready. Um, they're like their sights are very much. I think most of the top teams' sights are on like the finals and everything. But those two are a little bit ahead. But
Yeah, and it's
like I said, it's early now.
and it's still early, yeah, because we haven't gotten to the All-Star break yet. But
Yeah,
when you're in the playoffs, how important is it's a case of especially with Boston and Milwaukee because of the way it's looking like Boston's really trying to get home court advantage throughout the whole playoffs, whereas
Mhm.
Milwaukee is won it. They want to make sure everybody's healthy, and they're playing at the right
Yeah.
speed. For you, which one is more important?
Oh, like Milwaukee saying that they want to have everyone healthy and play, be playing their best basketball. That's the most important thing. Like home court, like yeah, you're going to fight for home court, and it's great to have, but fact of the matter is like you need to win on the road to like be
To
able
win.
to win a series. Like you have to be able to win on the road to win the series. So like it doesn't matter now. Being healthy, that matters a lot.
Yeah.
You could look at like the last like I don't know, like 8 NBA championships, and like health was like a factor in
In the series.
shifting, like it literally going one way or another. Like you go through like all those chips, and like you have like one injury, and we have a different champion, and so. So health is always like one of the major things that the teams that are trying to win it, like that's all they want, health, and like make sure that they're playing their best basketball once the playoff starts. So that's why, like the regular season, it's like you're gearing up.
Mm-hmm.
You're gearing up. You're sharpening your blade. Like this is getting ready to for what's to come, and that's the biggest thing. You're preparing yourself for that.
For that.
You're not like the regular season isn't your like be all end all. It's not like okay, you put everything into this regular season, and then you get to the playoffs and like okay, like we're just here and like we're going to continue on. Like no, you're preparing for the playoffs. So everything that you do right now in the regular season, that's getting you ready, for that. And I think that's definitely the like the great approach, to be thinking about. Okay, like we want guys, healthy, and a lot of teams obviously like think like that. Just wanted to make sure, and not to say like Boston isn't. But you want to be able to have guys healthy and playing your best basketball once the playoff starts. That's key because you can't win without doing that.
And it's funny. You brought up a great point, and while you're saying this, it popped in my head. I gotta bring it up, but 20, like you're talking about the last 8 years or 10 years. Usually, you're right though. Throughout history, even when I was a big Laker fan back in the day when they had a chance to repeat back in '89, and Magic and
Mhm.
Byron goes out and the Pistons sweep, right? And there's always an
Right.
injury that always, like you can even see the Raptors, like when they won, and and people can argue that like KD getting hurt and Clay getting hurt changed everything, but it's a war of
Yeah.
attrition as well. But 2017, it was one of the most anticipated series I was waiting to watch. And then Kawhi went down when he was with the Spurs, one of his last years with the Spurs. You was on
Yeah.
that team. How
Yeah.
did you guys feel like you're playing at that
Yeah.
moment? Because honestly, Joel, like that was probably one of the best games I've ever seen Kawhi play ever. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna win, but it's gonna be a hell of a time because I thought you guys were like you
uh,
were ready.
I think like for sure, like the championship would have came out of the West. It would have
Mm-hmm.
been San Antonio or Golden State that year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like we're both like at that time we're both 1 and 2, and we're just kind of interchanging like at different times of the season,
Mm-hmm.
and we're both just trying to get ready for like the playoffs. Very very experienced and understanding, good in understanding like what needed to be done, and the everyone on the team throughout the organization knew what it was, and so I think we were really. I was It's funny because like I just remember saying like we're really in a great position to like take this, like not just because of how we're playing, but also like once we got to the playoffs, um,
You guys are rolling.
when I was talking about like sharpening your blade, like you want to be tested like when you get to the playoffs because you're gonna have to raise the level every single time.
Yeah.
And so we started off, we played Memphis in the first round, tough, banging around, like it's physical, grindhouse over there. And so we have that test. pass, move on to the next level, play Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're no one plays like the Warriors, but like they're as similar as you could get in the league. A lot of threes, fast switching everything. So playing that style now, pass that test. But unfortunately, Tony Parker gets hurt first.
That's
Tony
right.
goes down,
That's right. The quad, right?
and yeah, and so it was crazy because like Tony was someone who understood like what time it was. Like when the playoffs started, he was like his focus, like you could see it, like his whole focus, demeanor changed, and his level like automatically went up.
What up?
And not everyone is able to like really just do that where you hit the switch, because now he had been building up. It's not like he was slacking and then just turned
Mm-hmm.
it on. Like he was building up and getting ready for this time, and now it's playoff time, and so he's like, all right, like now like I've done everything I've had to do to get ready for this point, and now I'm ready to go. And he was playing at a much higher level, and that was helping us, obviously like win all those games. And obviously Kawhi was, like he had a MVP caliber season,
Yeah.
and but then we go to Golden State, and now we're saying like, look, like Golden State, like really this is a great opportunity for us because even though like we're playing Golden State because they have home court, but Golden State throughout the playoffs, like they're playing at such a high level, like they were just sweeping everyone.
Yeah.
So they sweep through the first two rounds, and from fans, it's like, oh yeah, this is great. Like they probably think like this is a great, like this team's like going to be ready to take it. And granted, they're playing well, but they haven't been tested.
Mm-hmm.
So like you haven't been tested. So once they're playing against us and we're ready, and like it's going to be like it's going to be an adjustment. And so that's why like we came out and like that first that first game, like going into the where we're in the third and up 20 over there, it's like they just weren't ready for all that.
Yeah.
And so like obviously like it's doesn't mean like we're gonna sweep them or anything. Like it was just it's just the third quarter
Mm-hmm.
of that
Game
game, but
one.
still they definitely weren't weren't ready for that. Obviously they played us, they knew exactly what it was, but it's just and sometimes you don't even notice there's just a certain level that gets raised, and it's hard to like meet that unless you've gone through the battle and like been tested. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think we were in a great situation to to be able to win. Obviously, you don't know; you have to play the games to find out.
Yeah.
But we definitely put ourselves in a great situation, and it was just unfortunate that Kawhi had to go down like that,
I know.
because we still had an opportunity even after Tony went down, but like once Kawhi went down, like that was it.
That
It
was
was
it.
over. We just we didn't have enough.
Yeah, because I mean I think you guys would have won game one for sure. And who knows after that? Like, I still,
Yeah,
Golden State was really tough, but you
but we
don't
did
know, right?
but we did what we're supposed to do. Like
Yeah.
you're starting the series on the road. Like you just like we just need one.
You just need
Like
one.
we just need one. Like if we got our one, like okay, cool. Like and now you're playing with the house money, so you're going to try to be greedy and get two.
Mm-hmm.
But like everyone makes adjustments and everything. But going back to San Antonio, with the series 1-1, and you
Yeah.
have two games at home, like you feel way better about that. But like I said, like there's no guarantees. You definitely have to win, play the games and see what happens. But it was a great opportunity that injuries,
Yeah.
it changed the whole course of it.
It plays a part. Now, here's my last question I want to ask before we wrap this up. Well, I got two. I got the last one will be quick, but
Mm.
I want to take a full circle because we're talking about the World Cup. We're talking about Team Canada soccer. I'm looking over your shoulder and seeing that Team Canada jersey, right? And I'll try to be politically
Yeah.
correct here, but but
All right.
but we're because I always felt like, especially when it came to this decade, especially the middle of the decade, you know, my wish and my thing is that I would like to see where, when the Olympics come up or the World Cups come up, especially the Olympics, that when US is medaling, we're taking one of those podiums. Like,
Mm.
where do you think, what do we have to do to make sure that the next Olympics, 2024, 2028, we're now taking a step on that podium and grabbing medals too?
Uh, it's
Because we
tough
got the talent.
right now. Like, yeah, like we have the talent, and like even though now we have the talent, remember, like we have the talent because like the rest of the world has gotten like also more talented.
Better. Yeah.
So like the other teams are also, like better too. I think what's tough for us, and some people don't talk about often, like in North America, because we're playing one style of basketball. And so now you're switching off to like a complete different style. And so unless you have like extreme talent where like the US does,
Hmm.
and like even with them, it hasn't been a cakewalk
Yeah.
through like playing all these games, and so then they've had like their teams composed of nothing but like mostly like Hall of Famers and like some All Stars,
Hmm.
so it's and they've only been playing like that North American style of basketball, and so it's hard to make the adjustment, to playing FIBA basketball. Whereas, all those other teams that we're playing against, like they're basically playing like just one style of basketball. Like they're all used to it. So it's not that they've been playing together. People talk about they've been playing together. Some of those teams like they just kind of put them together, but they've all been playing the same style.
Wow.
So now when they get to international competition, it's like, it's just like riding a bike for them.
Hmm.
Whereas we, have to make, like a bunch of different adjustments. And I think that like that's one thing that affects us, that, there's some things you're just not going to really be able to get over. And I think it's what's going to take is just more experience playing internationally. And so you need time and games to be able to get that experience. And so I think it'll be a little easier, but it doesn't compare because the one thing, if you get players from the NBA, like they're only going to be playing like in the summertime, so
Yeah.
that's the only time they get their international experience. Like I played internationally, for the national team for a bunch of summers, like throughout my career. I didn't have to see like a big change until I played one season in Argentina. And then there was like an automatic adjustment because I've been playing months of the same style of basketball,
Yeah.
and so I think that that's something that's that you have to take into consideration. So for some of it might take a bit more time. There's definitely the talent there.
Hmm.
I think we have to add like a little bit more. We don't have. I think we had some bigs that were hurt before, but like just to be able to have like a complete team of really our most talented, like top to bottom,
Hmm.
available, and then everyone just in the same goal, similar to the US, where it's like, look, like we're just gonna, like we're doing this together. Like it doesn't matter, like you can't think of ego, you can't think of anything else, and not to say like this is what it is, but
Yeah.
just the idea that you're here for this collective, like to be able to, to be able to win, and to reach that podium,
Hmm.
and that's the only thing that matters. Like all those other teams, that's what they're playing for. They're playing for their pride. They are together. Like it is like that's what it's about. And so I feel that that's something that factors in to having success at that international level, because like they're very passionate about the game, and they have an intensity, and that increases as you know go deeper in those tournaments, that we definitely have to make sure we match.
Yeah. No, which makes sense. Which makes sense. My final question. I know, the CBL is still in its, younger stages, so I don't know if you guys have throwback nights, but there used to be, when I was younger, there used to be a Montreal basketball team. I swear to God, they would call the Montreal Machine. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, there was a couple. There's the Machine, the Jazz.
The Jazz. Oh my God,
um
the Jazz.
yeah,
Forgot about
there's
that.
the Cubs. Yeah, there's a couple of teams. I think the wait, the Machine, or was it the Dragons?
It might have been the Dragons. Because
Yeah,
I wanted to
yeah.
see if there's like there's a night where you guys do a throwback and you have that maroon jersey back in business for one game.
Yeah, like it's a different league, so like I'm not
Probably
sure if
not.
they.
Yeah.
Yeah, like probably not. Um, yeah, like it's regardless, like we've had some teams like in our history, in our city's history, and like with our team, like the Alliance, like we're just looking to
Yeah.
can continue that history, and just have something that's going to be able to stay and that's going to be able to last. That we'll continue to be able to build with the community, continue to build with, and like that's really, and obviously like to be able to have success and win games and everything, but want to be able to just continue to grow, continue to grow so that this is something that people will see. So instead of saying, like remember that team that they used to have,
Yeah.
like it's, well, remember when this team started and look where it is
They are
now.
now.
So like 10, 20 years down the line, it's, yeah, like this is where it started, and now like look where it is. And to be able to have some longevity, I think is obviously huge.
No, I appreciate that, man. But look, brother, listen, man, thank you, for doing this, for hopping on the Ave, and and doing all that you do, man, and laying these pipelines, and continue good further with the community, with Montreal, with Canada overall.
Yes, sir.
You're doing your thing, so I appreciate you for hopping on, man.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. We're all part of you know part of one collective in our basketball community. So it's about finding different ways to be able to fit in and contribute. You being from Montreal, like having this podcast and this type of platform, like this is stuff that's important too. There's it's all about everyone just finding a way to like I said, like help the collective. You're doing it for the community, for the culture.
Yeah,
So
man.
just happy to be a part of it, man.
Nah, man,
So
100%. And anytime you're welcome back anytime. And next time I'll ask you a Sokol question. We got away with that, but next time I'll ask you.
yeah. We could definitely jump into that.